3, 2, 1, mark. For the billionth time. Now, question for you guys. Is morality real? Because I feel like this would have had to have been a conversation for almost time out of mind, really. As to like what is the substance of morality? And I think there are kind of two main schools of thought. One of them would be along the lines that, oh no, it's not real. It's something ephemeral. It's an idea that we as humans came up with because it was useful, right? It's not something that exists in nature. It's not real. No basis for it in objective reality. It's a human construct. It's no more real than Lord of the Rings or a dream or some other imagination. It's ephemeral, right? It's intangible. I tend to be like, there's another school of thought which would tend to be the one that I ascribe to, that morality is objective. In my idea of it would be that morality is more so, well, obviously as a Christian, there's a degree of an elements of God doing his thing with regards to our conscience and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. But I tend to think of it more in terms of a type of discovery, right? We're not creating this thing. It's not an act of pure creativity on our part. We're discovering morality, if you will. So you think of it like this. Here's reality. Here's how reality works, right? Here's human nature. Here's how human nature works. Good doesn't become evil. Pain doesn't become pleasure, right? There are these really fundamental, unchanging facets to reality. And then there's a recognition of those unchanging truths. And then what I would consider, at the very least, an intuitive reaction, which brings us into harmony with all of this stuff, right? And to my mind, in which case, like it's not an act of it's not an act of pure creativity at the very least. Now, to be fair, especially when moral systems rise to ascendancies, you can have people coming up with completely arbitrary, litigious ideas to make themselves feel good or other people feel bad. But I think at its core, like really good morals are reflected in reality. They're a reaction to reality, to human nature. So they're not just human constructs in my mind. They are real, if that makes sense. We have some videos to review here, to look at and laugh at, hopefully, and learn something. Because learning is important. All right, come on. Video by Thoughty2. For whatever reason, I don't see a lot of reviews of this guy's video, and I hope it's not because he strikes them or something, because he makes pretty good historical type of or conspiratorial type stuff. He often wears suspenders. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but he kind of pulls it off a little bit. Yeah, so the Nazis had the same scar, and this explains why.
Hey, 42 here.
I don't know why I put it to that. Well, I do. Maybe it's knee-jerk response. That's what I do when I'm outside or when I don't have good signal or something. All right. There we go.
Hey, 42 here. It was a simmering morning on the banks of the Red River in Logan, Kentucky, and the future 7th President of the United States of America, Andrew Jackson, was frozen in place. Sweat pouring down.
See, I think there is, sorry, I was talking about the scar here. All the Nazis had the same scar. There was a thing called a dueling scar that they would get when they're maybe at a certain, school or college or something. I think I remember that being a thing.
His brow and blood pouring from his chest. He had just been shot with a lead ball from Charles Dickinson's pistol, a renowned duelist and one of the best marksmen in all of Tennessee. The two had come to blows over a horse racing dispute and had decided to duel the matter out. Jackson's hand clung onto his heart, with crimson blood seeping into the fabric of his coat with each shallow breath. For a moment, onlookers braced themselves for his inevitable collapse. But that moment never came. Instead, Jackson calmly pulled out his handkerchief, wiped the blood from his chest, then raised his pistol and returned fire at Charles Dickinson. He placed one shot precisely in his heart, killing him. You see, Dickinson's reputation as a marksman was well known, and so Jackson knew he couldn't outdraw him in a fair fight. So, upon arriving at the duel, Jackson commanded Dickinson to take the first shot, something that nobody ever did in a duel. But Jackson had donned an oversized coat to slightly obscure the location of his vital organs. If he could survive that first shot, then he'd have the opportunity to take a free shot at his opponent and potentially win. The shot that Jackson took prior to killing his opponent just missed his heart, but he never removed that iron ball. It stayed inside him.
Bit of a gamble, one might say. I wanted to get to Nazis, but I assume this is connected somehow. Not that I like Nazis. Great, I'm not racist. I suppose. I thought it'd be hilarious sometime to start some sort of podcast or something that literally the title of it is just "Don't come at me. I support the current thing." That'd be like hilarious. Whatever the thing you need to do.
As a Medal of Honor until the day he died.
Yes.
So I've been using Magic Mind shots for 6 months now. I find that they sharpen my focus and allow me to get so much more work done.
If you're stealing someone's content, the least you can do is listen to their ads. At least one of them. If he's doing more than one, well, we'll see.
On a daily basis. I genuinely love these shots, but truth be told, they're a little bulky to travel with. I recently went away for 14 days, and Magic Mind is so beneficial for my mental performance.
Personally, I don't like doing stuff that messes with my head. Just in general, or medication in general. It's unsettling as a general rule. Like anything that's gonna mess with your mental or fiddle with stuff, it's unnatural.
I actually packed 14 of these shots in my suitcase. So I'm really excited to announce that Magic Mind gummies have just launched. And one pouch of these bad boys contains 90 focus boosting gummies, so they're so much more convenient to travel with and take on the go. Gummies are basically Magic Mind shots with all the same ingredients, except for
it's terrible. I'm just thinking, there's no way this tastes good. I don't know.
The caffeine, which makes them a great choice when you need to lock in for a late night work session. They're also great for everyone in the family. They're safe for children from 8 years old. And they have this kicking green apple flavor, which is slightly tangy and sweet. I absolutely love it. Magic Mind backs up its ingredients and formulations with over 200 peer-reviewed studies. Packed with super nootropics such as Bacopa monnieri and lion's mane mushroom.
Nootropic sounds like a gobbledygook word. Oh, look at that. Nootropic. I have to see if that's actually a word or if it's some sort of advertisement BS. Nootropics. New. Huh. Mononucleotide. Huh. Nootropics, also known as smart drugs, are a diverse group of medical substances. Okay, so it isn't just an advertisement. Snake oil salesmen speak. It's an actual thing, I guess.
Mushrooms, which are organically grown in California. So use the link in my description or the QR code on screen now to head over to Magic Mind and get 25% off your gummies.
It's not spelled like nutrients, it's spelled like N-O-O-O, tropics. Apparently that's a thing.
Today. And thanks to Magic Mind for sponsoring this video. Jackson vs. Dickinson is probably the most famous duel in history, but the code that compels these...
I feel like David and Goliath probably, although that was, that was kind of duel. I'm just saying, like, I'd never heard of this. I didn't even know Jackson had a duel.
Two men to risk their lives was...
But wasn't there like two early guys, like in the early American thing? Might have had some sort of beef. I don't know if that happened. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other duels. Only other one I can think of is from the sketch comedian people like Studio C. or there's some person who's acting really British, and then the other couple starts acting British or something, or they want to try. Yeah,
It's not unique to early 19th
they're trying to act like people from Downton Abbey, I think, or something. But yeah, I guess duels would. Yeah,
century
funny thing stuff.
Tennessee. Dueling had, in fact, shaped reputations and settled scores for centuries, from medieval knights in class.
Yes, Japanese would have done that. I don't know if I would even have thought of it because I always maybe thought of it more in terms of like more so in terms of like pistol duels. But obviously in France there would have been sword duels probably as well. There have been samurai doing their thing.
Slashing armor to noblemen with rapiers at dawn, and even pistol-wielding gentlemen across Europe and the Americas.
Jousting is always like one of those things that's just such a crazy notion. It's just like like there's so much speed involved that it just feels like stuff could go very, very wrong. Honestly.
The origins of the duel can be traced back to the medieval practice of trial by combat, where disputes were settled not by reasoned argument or evidence, but by fisticuffs and the odd bit of stabby-stabby. It was a rather straightforward philosophy. Whoever survived was presumed to have God on his side, because surely the Almighty wouldn't let an innocent man die, right? As crazy as that seemed, and it was crazy, it laid the groundwork for a system of honor and justice.
I think that was big. For the record, that word has kind of been ruined for me now. Been used so much and used ironically so much that it's kind of like, eh.
That would endure for centuries. In medieval Germany, combatants would settle disputes by stepping into a literal pit of sand, armed with nothing but clubs or blunt-ended swords. And if one fighter was deemed physically stronger than the other, the stronger man had to fight from a kneeling position. In contrast, the French, never one to pass up an opportunity for drama, had a tradition where combatants would ceremoniously throw down a gauntlet onto the floor, such as a...
See, that's what I was thinking of. Like musketeer time type things that have duels.
glove. If you picked it up, congratulations. You just signed up for a duel. If you didn't, you were branded a coward, which was extremely damning since one's status meant everything to him in medieval France. Not much has changed, really. In Britain, we made things weird. In case...
It's a weird thing with like the French people. Their plebeians or their proletariat seem to be very, very larky from time to time, where they'll literally just go around and burn crap and break stuff. It's the strangest sort of thing. So you think in like every other regards, they're kind of, impotent and effeminate, but like every now and then they'll literally just get their dander up and go around breaking stuff. Very strange.
Cases of trial by combat where a man and a woman faced off, the man would often be required to stand waist deep in a hole, armed with a club, whilst the woman was free to move around above ground.
That's weird as all get out. I did not even think that was a thing. Oh, he did say it was rare, I think, but man, I don't know. Like, there's one thing that's like, there's no upside in beating a woman in any sort of physical thing, because if you win, it's like, oh man, yeah, you beat a woman. Wow. And if you lose, it's like, oh wow, you got beat by a woman. There's no upside to it, unless there's something. Again, in this case, maybe there was something else involved than just personal pride or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous, though.
Ground wielding a sack full of rocks. The logic being that it leveled the playing field. And it looked really funny. Of course, for those less keen on getting their hands dirty, there was always the option of hiring a champion to fight on your behalf. A champion was basically a freelancer who was quite happy to fight to the death for someone he usually didn't even know.
Sounds like modern day lawyers. You just win by being rich.
The practice of hiring champions was most popular in parts of Italy. By the 16th and 17th centuries, the art of dueling had reached peak absurdity, especially in France. You see, the French had decided that dueling was no longer about silly things like honor or justice. No, it was now all about looking as fabulous as possible, whilst waggling a stick about in your opponent's face.
Look, I don't know. This frippery around the sleeve seems like completely gratuitous, I guess.
The rapier was the
No
weapon
accounting for fashion, though. Be interesting to know like what exactly goes into all of like causing what we like as fashionable. I remember when I was a kid growing up, baggy pants were a huge thing. You don't really find them anymore. I feel like that would have been kind of just gratuitous. Like, oh, why would you want baggy pants? A ridiculous notion.
of choice, and noblemen loved nothing
Skinny jeans are more the thing these days. For the record, I do like skinny jeans. I like stretchy jeans in any case because there's nice versatility there.
more than to get into a rapier waggle-off over the smallest of slights. Perhaps someone had insulted one's poetry, or thrown shade at the limpness of one's feather hat. Dueling etiquette became so intricate that entire books were written on the subject, such as the 1575 Italian fencing manual Lo Schermo, which advised duelists on foot positioning, blade angles, and most importantly, to any French readers, how to look sufficiently dramatic whilst doing it. The French even developed a term, l'effet du honneur, meaning that any perceived insult, no matter how small, could and should be resolved with steel.
In the Win with Zin sweepstakes, you can get a chance to win $100,000. But there's more than one way to win with Zin. Here's how.
The most infamous French duel was the Duel des Mignons in 1578, where 6 high-ranking courtiers of King Henry III and the Duke of Guise fought in a brutal and bloody melee. It all began over a trivial insult concerning a lady's virtue or something like that. In the cut
To be fair, I imagine that's how a lot of fights start. But it's not entirely unique to these guys. And for the record, there are worse things to fight over, I suppose.
milieu of the French court, such a slight was tantamount to a declaration of war. So before the first cock crowed, 6 of Henry III's most ostentatious courtiers had gathered at the Louvre's horse market. And when I say ostentatious courtiers, there were more feather caps and ruffled sleeves than at a village pantomime. The battle was swift, brutal, and most importantly, horrendously theatrical. As the rapiers flashed in the early morning light, 4 men lay dead, and another 2 were gravely wounded. The blood-soaked survivors limped away. But it gets even sillier.
I wonder when they actually outlawed dueling. Fun fact, actually. I was looking this up the other day because, I'm not racist. I was looking this up the other day. I think actually Brazil was the last country in the Western Hemisphere to outlaw slavery. Anyways, I was wondering when they actually outlawed dueling. Come on, let's look this one up. When did they outlaw dueling? I wonder when did they outlaw dueling? From the early 17th century in countries where they're practiced. I feel like in the Wild West, dueling would have been maybe practiced until it became somewhat civilized, I imagine. So I don't know if that lasted longer in America or if it lasted longer in Europe.
In 1808, 2 gentlemen, Monsieur de Grandpré and Monsieur Lepic, found themselves in a heated dispute over the affections of a Parisian ballerina. But rather than settle their grievances in the tried and tested manner of rapiers at dawn or pistols in a foggy park, these 2 decided that the only fitting venue for their clash was 2,700 feet above Paris. Each man climbed into his own hot air balloon, accompanied by a second and armed
That's what you call style, man.
with a blunderbuss. Well, this is going to end really well, isn't it? As they ascended above the Tuileries Gardens, Lepic fired first, but his shot went wide. Grandpré, on the other hand, took careful aim and struck Lepic's balloon, sending it plummeting to the earth. Grandpré, now both victorious and significantly higher in altitude than when he started, drifted safely down to land, miles away.
There's actually, I had looked this up. There's actually an interesting way they navigate balloons. The idea is that like even just in one spot, like if you go high enough up or low enough or at the right altitude, you can find a current that's probably going in the direction that you want to go. That's why I think they'll also send up like weather balloons or whatever to test the wind and whatnot, so they know how to work it. But yeah, literally just by controlling your altitude, you can control where you're going basically because they don't have any other means of propulsion, but they have all this altitude they can play with. So they go up to such and such an altitude, go in such and such a direction, go to another altitude, and they can kind of figure their way from there. Pretty cool as a concept, anyways.
Across the channel, meanwhile, the English gentry were also busy dreaming up inventive ways to settle their minor disputes by brutally murdering each other. Whereas the French were...
I had heard of a weird one where you would find or you would get boiling oil and pour it in someone's ear to kill them. That seems like a particularly gruesome way of doing it. I guess I don't. Maybe it would kill you really quickly. I guess I don't actually know, but man, that is nasty.
Theatrical about their duels. The English approach was more, shall we say, practical. They preferred pistols over swords. But how deadly were these pistol duels exactly? Well, between 1785 and 1845, about 1,000 duels were recorded in Britain, with a death rate of 20%. We don't have any concrete stats on...
That's maybe the thing, like the gladiatorial idea. So you get the idea that a lot of people died. There were so many dead. Like there might just not have been. Like it feels like history is kind of like it's by almost nature of the fact that it was recorded. It must be kind of a little bit sensational. So the sensational stuff is the stuff that gets written down. The duels where someone died might be the ones that we remember or something. But man, yeah, 20%. That's not. I mean, it's not good, but it's it's not exactly hyper deadly either.
The death rate from fencing duels, since their popularity was way back during the Renaissance. But when you consider that the participants were often extremely well trained, it's possible that they were even deadlier than pistols. This proliferation of pistol-based duels in Britain had an unintentional side effect. Using firearms removed...
So I wonder if there was a definitive, like, okay, stop now. Do you think, like, did they just... I'm just maybe I wouldn't have necessarily thought that there would be some sort of definitive, okay, now you just stop, duel over. Like some sort of referee that comes in and says, okay, whatever. Because you would think maybe they would just go until someone was dead, but I guess maybe not.
Much of the skill and training required to enter into a duel. All one needed was a steady hand and a good aim. Actually, you didn't even need that. One lucky shot would be sufficient to seal the deal. For most duels, smooth-bore flintlock pistols were the weapon of choice. These were single-shot firearms, meaning if you missed, or if your one shot failed to mortally wound or incapacitate your foe, then you had to reload. Depending on the dexterity of the duelist, this process typically took around 20 to 30 seconds. And this time, you better bloody hope that your shot hits its mark. To reload one of these bad boys, you would have to retrieve your powder, measure it out, and precisely pour it down the barrel, insert a new lead ball, stuff a piece of cloth or paper into the barrel, then, using a ramrod, ram the ball firmly into place. Prime the pan by adding a small amount of gunpowder to the flash pan, cock the flintlock, then, finally, aim and fire. And this meant that there wasn't a whole lot of skill behind a pistol duel, and most were won with a lucky shot. So, any Larry...
That's right. Like, I would have thought, I guess I don't know, if it was some sort of speed contest too where you're trying to reload again. But that seems like it would be a little bit, I don't know. I was going to say, like, do his eyes look slightly different to you? Maybe it's just the lighting, but his eyes were looking like they were kind of different.
Tom, Dick, or Harry could pick up a pistol and challenge any Bob,
They are different.
John, or Pete
His eyebrow is lower.
to a duel and have about a 50% chance of winning. Now,
Permanently, I don't know.
just contrast this.
Mine are actually that way too, but I had a skating accident growing up where there's like a scar that makes this eye set lower.
To a rapier duel with its intricate footwork, parries and thrusts, where years of practice and training were required to stand a chance. A rapier duel was an art form, an elegant chance of death, a carefully choreographed display of skill and discipline. The aristocracy all across Europe received training in fencing from a young age, whereas the working and middle classes did not. Pistol duel, by contrast, was just two blokes taking turns trying not to get shot in the face, and was therefore much more befitting to the lower classes. This had a really interesting effect in that pistols sort of...
Yeah. But in my case, there's actually a scar. I think that makes it like I guess there's more skin or something that just makes his eyebrow set lower. But in his case, I don't. Maybe there is. I think mine is mostly hidden by my eyebrows, so maybe he's in the same scenario.
Democratized dueling. Now, any old Will, Wayne, or Scott could settle his dispute out of a court of law in a much more succinct and often final way. By the 18th and 19th centuries, dueling had evolved from a nobleman's prerogative to a widely accepted, albeit highly illegal, method of dispute resolution. Yes, you heard that right. Law in a much more succinct and often final way. By the 18th and
19th. So, okay, so I don't know, maybe what I was reading was talking about America. This might have been a thing in Europe still, though.
18th centuries, dueling had evolved from a nobleman's prerogative to a widely accepted, albeit
you did mention, though, I think that was
a highly illegal method of dispute resolution.
Illegal. So technically they did it, but it was also illegal.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I have to look. What the Harry is this? What is that thing? Man, it's strange stuff they got going on there.
To a widely accepted, albeit highly illegal, method of dispute resolution. Yes, you heard that right. Dueling was strictly outlawed across most of Europe, despite the fact that everyone was at it. Occasionally, duelists were arrested.
I want to get to the Nazis yet, and maybe we'll get a little bit into that. But actually, we'll maybe look up the making of it illegal as a history thing, actually, because I forgot to actually arrange one of those.
Charged with murder or manslaughter. Most of the time, the case was dismissed and the participants were instead.
So this is the one I was thinking of. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, I think. Charged with murder, never stood trial, indicted for murder. New Jersey Supreme Court quashed.
Asked to leave the town. Obviously, duelists from households of higher stature with more influence in the local town could avoid post-dueling charges altogether. The funny thing about receiving a challenge to a duel was that it was actually a compliment. If someone challenged you, then he considered you to be an equal and a gentleman. A duel was a way of saying, I respect you and your station. So let's battle this out in the gentlemanly manner.
What's wrong with these burger buns?
I think I would take the insult, actually.
It's perfectly delicious, but due to a production mishap, their bottoms are slightly...
Each man would have to bring a second with him, usually a close friend who would arbiter the duel. Each man's second would
maybe
confer beforehand to set out the rules. How many paces apart would the duel take place?
See, I would have thought the second would have been the person who, takes on the duel if you... I guess that doesn't make sense, that the duel is just like a one and done type of thing. You don't get another chance at it. For whatever reason, I would have thought of the second as the person who's like, okay, if I die or can't show up or something like that, then they have to be the one who... And maybe that would be an aspect of it, but I didn't know they were kind of the arbiters of the duel.
Place 10, 20. They would agree on the format too. They could choose between the French method, where each man took X number of paces back to back before turning to fire when one of the seconds shouted a signal, and only on the signal, not before. Or there was the British method, in which participants started face to face, but would only be allowed to fire their first and subsequent shots when one of the seconds counted down, like 3, 2, 1, fire. Typically, the maximum number of shots allowed would be agreed upon in advance, but it was almost never more than 3. If you failed to win the duel with 3 bullets, then to continue shooting at your opponent was considered downright barbaric. The seconds would load the pistols in front of the others to ensure each pistol was the same and loaded with the same ammo. Seconds would also inspect the ground to ensure neither party had an unfair advantage by being on a slightly higher patch of earth, and they would arrange for a doctor or surgeon to be
present. I have a lot of work, honestly. You'd have to be a pretty good friend for me to want to do that.
Present to perform emergency stitch-ups if needed. Seconds were also responsible for pre-arranging the dress code for everyone present. Duels were a formal affair.
Glory, that's a lot of stuff going on, man.
After all. But perhaps the most important role of the seconds was to provide refreshments. Typically, they would pack champagne that could be enjoyed by all after the duel, whether or not one of the participants had died. Occasionally, a duelist would attempt to delope. That meant to throw away his first shot by shooting it into the ground or intentionally shooting wide of their opponent. Over in the US, during Alexander Hamilton's infamous duel with Vice President Aaron Burr in 1804, Hamilton deloped by shooting over the head of Burr, but Burr shot back regardless and mortally wounded him. Deloping was frowned upon as it was cowardly, but to shoot back after someone already deloped is even worse. Over in Ireland,
It's like, what is the point of deloping?
they actually took an old set of Roman dueling laws and expanded upon them to create a new set of bylaws called the Irish Code Duelo that described in 25 detailed rules how a duel should take place. And in that, they explicitly outlawed the practice of deloping. Interestingly, this wasn't because it was
No dumb firing or firing in the air is admissible in any case. The challenger ought not to have challenged without receiving offense, and the challenged ought, if he gave offense, to have made an apology before he came on the grounds. Therefore, children's play must be dishonorable on one side or the other, and is accordingly prohibited.
considered cowardly, but because deloping often resulted in accidental injuries.
I get asked all the time, Dr. Paris, what food should I eat to heal my arthritis? Well,
perhaps the strangest
Carrots! I'll give you night vision too.
iteration of dueling culture took place in pre-war Germany,
See, I honestly don't know if this guy is red-haired. Look at this. Okay, is it red? Is it brown? Is it?
Austria, and
I
Switzerland.
don't know if I could listen to him if he was some sort of ginger.
A bizarre form of academic fencing took over the German middle and upper classes in the late 19th century by the name of Mensur. Mensur was not about settling a debate. It wasn't even about winning or losing. It was simply about not being a wimp.
It's a duel fought not to kill, but to slash the opponent's face.
Unlike the dueling Frenchman, there was no fancy footwork involved here. In fact, there was no footwork at all. The ultimate goal was to neither flinch nor dodge, no matter if that razor-sharp steel of your opponent was heading directly for your cheek, forehead, or anywhere else. The only facial protection they wore were strange metal goggles with wire meshes on them to protect their eyes. Mensur was all about being as stoic as possible and demonstrating your manhood.
Makes sense for the Germans, right?
In fact, if one of the combatants so much as flinched to avoid a strike, then the match was immediately halted and he was branded a coward. It was utterly mental. But if you were brave enough to undergo this torture, you could potentially walk away with the ultimate European status symbol.
You can. I hoping there's more in the rest of us. I feel kind of bad because I kind of used a lot of this video. Generally speaking, I like to stop a little bit earlier, but yeah, you can go check that out if you want to. All right, give me a second, and I will look up the criminalization of dueling. All right, dueling. Dueling. Duel. Wait a minute. There you go. All right, during the 17th and 18th century and earlier, mostly fought in single combat with long swords, rapier, later small sword. Legislation against dueling dates back to the medieval period, Fourth Council of Lateran. It's convoked. The convocation. I've heard that phrase before, though. The convocation, I think it's a summoning of people, maybe? Convoked with Pope Innocent, and open at the Lateran. Outlaw duels and civil legislation in the Holy Roman Empire against dueling was passed in the wake of the 30 Years' War. In the early 17th century, duels became illegal in the countries where they had practiced. That's kind of a weird thing that we maybe take for granted is the notion of like, I don't know, sufficient justice or forgiveness of like crimes or whatever. So that, like even into like early American history, whenever there were like blood feuds that would go on forever. And it's like terrible. People just wouldn't let it die. Unfortunate reality. It's something we enjoy these days, where like blood feuds aren't really a thing so much. In the turn of the 20th century, dueling declined in the eastern United States in the 19th century, just because it was outlawed. Dueling largely followed a flavor in England by the mid-19th century and continental Europe by the turn of the 20th century. The dueling declined in the Eastern European United States in the 19th century. By the time the American Civil War, dueling had begun to wane even in the South. So it would have been like around 1840, I think. Not 1840. Yeah, 1845-ish. Public opinion, not legislation, caused a change. Research has linked the decline of dueling to increased state capacity. So the more the population increased, that's strange. So maybe the increase in state capacity would have other things to do with it as well, like the domestication of the state or the territory, whatever's involved. Like the more people show up, the more laws become codified, and judges can be brought in to settle disputes. The formal concept of a duel developed at the medieval judicial duel and older pre-Christian practices such as Viking Age Holmgang. Interesting. Is legally recognized as a way to settle disputes. All right. In the medieval society, judicial duels were fought by knights and squires to end various disputes. Countries such as France, Spain, Germany, England, and Ireland practiced this tradition. Judicial combat took two forms in medieval society: the feat of arms and chivalric combat. The feat of arms was used to settle disputes, was used to settle hostilities between two large parties. So instead of the party, to be fair, like at that point in time, it's kind of like, okay, if it's the choices between two people fighting or two large groups of people fighting, I would say the duel might be considered to be a little bit moral, one might say, and supervised by a judge. The battle was fought as a result of a slight or challenge to one's party's honor, which could not be resolved by court. Weapons were standardized in typical knight's armory, for example, long swords or polearms. However, weapon quality and augmentation were at the discretion of the knight. For example, a spiked handguard or an extra grip for a sword for half swording. An extra grip for half swording. The party involved would wear their own armor, for example, one knight wearing a full plate might face another wearing a chainmail. The duel lasted until one party could no longer fight back. So maybe that would be the end point. Like once one party can no longer fight back, then that's the end of the duel, not necessarily death per se. In early cases, the defeated party was then, holy shoot, okay, that was the thing, I guess. This type of duel soon evolved into the more chivalric passage of arms, chivalric hate. Hell, alright, has to do with the generic term in the Middle Ages to refer to many kinds of martial games. Comes from the Latin "hastudum," lance game. By the 14th century, the term usually excluded tournaments and used to describe the games collectively. Huh. It evolved in the late 14th century and remained popular through the 15th century. A knight or group of knights, tenons, or holders would stake at an interval spot such as a bridge, city, or city gate, and let it be known that any other knight who wished to pass, venons or comers, must first fight or be disgraced. If traveling venons did not have weapons or horses to meet the challenge, one might be provided. and if the Venons chose not to fight, he would leave his spurs behind as a sign of humiliation. It's all very strange. If a lady passed unescorted, she would leave behind a glove or a scarf to be rescued and returned to her by a future knight who passed that way. Okay. Very chivalric. The Catholic Church was critical of dueling throughout the medieval history, frowning both on the tradition of judicial combat and on duels on points of honor among nobility. Judicial duels were deprecated by the Lateran Council of 1215, but the judicial duel persisted in the Holy Roman Empire into the 15th century. Well, at least the Catholics got one thing right. That's their petty if you guys are Catholics. Little bit sorry. People need to be picked on. It's good for them. During the early Renaissance, dueling established the status of respectable gentleman and was an acceptable manner to resolve disputes. The first published code duello, or code of dueling, appeared in Renaissance Italy. First formalized national code was that of France during the Renaissance. From the late 1580s to 1620s, an estimated 10,000 French individuals, most of the nobility, were killed in duels. So it's not a lot. Like, what is it? This is, my brain hurts. 40 years? 40 years, 10,000 individuals? I guess I don't know what the population of France was at that point, but by the 17th century, duels. So I guess it doesn't seem insignificant, though. 10,000 people in 40 years is, yeah, it does seem, again, I don't know what the population was, though. By the 17th century, dueling had become regarded as a prerogative of the aristocracy throughout Europe, and attempts to discourage or suppress it generally failed. For example, King Louis Louis XIII of France, outlawed dueling in 1626. The law, which remained in force afterwards, and his successor Louis XIV intensified. The law which remained in force afterwards. Okay, that makes more sense now. A law which remained in force afterwards, and his successor Louis XIV intensified efforts to wipe out the duel. Despite these efforts, dueling continued unabated, and was estimated that between 1685 and 1716, French officers fought 10,000 duels, leading to over 400 deaths. That's still a pretty low rate of deaths. In Ireland, as late as 1777, the code of practice was drawn up for the regulation of duels. This was actually like kind of tacitly endorsed by the state. At the summer assizes in the town of Columno, County Tipperary, a copy of the code known as the 26 Commandments was to be kept in a gentleman's pistol case for reference should a dispute arise regarding procedure. Enlightenment era opposition. By the late 18th century, Enlightenment era values began to influence society with new self-consciousness ideas about politeness, civil behavior, and a new attitude towards violence. The cultivated art of politeness demanded that there should be no outward displays of anger or violence, and the concept of honor became more personalized. By the 1770s, the practice of dueling was increasingly coming under attack from many sections of enlightened society as a violent relic of Europe's medieval past, unsuited for modern life. In England, as England began to industrialize, the benefit of urban planning and more effective police forces, the culture of street violence in general began to slowly wane. A growing middle class maintained the reputation with recourse to either bringing charges of libel or to the fast-growing print media of the early 19th century, where they would defend their honor and resolve their conflict through correspondence in newspapers. That's like an earlier YouTube response to that's very. Anyways, we will be done with that for now and do some gaming here. Evil Genius 2. Infer nothing. I've definitely never thought about how to overthrow foreign governments. No. Well, or for that matter, this government. It's kind of an interesting idea in any case. Working. Now let's just make sure this is actually going up. Sometimes I have a bit of a deuce of a time trying to get it to play on the actual stream. Mm-hmm. This is not going on. All right. All right. Let's see what we got here. There we go. That work? Huzzah! That's the one I could just get so it would capture automatically. I think I had that before, but then the one hunting game hadn't worked. I had to. I'd actually spent an entire, like, the end of one of the streams just literally. No, let's. Now we'll go with this. So I think I hadn't got that far, but it kind of skipped some of the tutorial. I think we're good.
Defeated agents lie in body bags on the floor, causing minions to lose morale if they get too close. Build an incinerator in your power station to dispose of them.
No, I think I need to make this a little bit bigger. Alright, now, item. String. Alright, let's just open it up first, and then...
Salaries paid.
Salaries paid. Why can't I do that though? That should be possible. Power station? Like, this is the power station, right? It's the same thing as everything else. Give me a second. That's ridiculous. Let's try doing that. Now. Why is that?
New optional objective.
Okay, so
available.
I thought the
Most
red
of
thing...
your minions don't come with a thermostat pre-installed. Therefore, it is up to you to help regulate their body temperature. Request some of these temperature-regulating items for your power station.
What the Harry? That's new. Oh, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Like, maybe I was in a different difficulty that just didn't need that stuff. So I want to. Alright. I want to be able to put a door in here though. Well, okay, so. Oh. There we go.
As you fill your layer with more contraptions, the temperature level will change. At extreme temperatures, this will have a negative effect on your furniture and minions. By building different furniture, try to maintain a comfortable temperature throughout your lair.
Oh, dang. I don't know if I'm used to these controls yet. Or used to these controls again. I have played this before. It's just used to the different rotational thing, I think. Alright. Alright.
Main objective complete.
Open the character selection panel, then select the Evil Genius portrait to highlight and follow your Evil Genius.
I'm thinking.
With the Evil Genius selected, interact anywhere in the highlighted area to move your genius.
You can watch over them while they're eating.
Optional objective complete.
Surround sound is going. So what else? Alright, what highlighted location?
I will not do this thing. Evil minds think.
Oh, okay, here we go. I had not noticed that.
New main objective available.
You need a control room to send minions into the world. Let's lay down a plan for one.
So I think I want the control room a little in. Want it further in. So as to avoid those dastardly do-gooders. I was thinking I picked the perfect day to talk about morality. Alright, control room now. Near by the wall, maybe?
Radio repeaters provide broadcast strength, allowing us to maintain criminal networks across the globe.
Alright. And that's here. Alright, fine. How do I rotate the camera? Alright, fine. Guess that's alright. Alright, so we need radio repeaters. Blah, 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 blah. See, that's the thing. Did I put it on a higher difficulty or something? Because I never remember there being issues with heat. I wonder if I left it on like a higher difficulty or something and just, now does that.
The more broadcast strength you generate with your radio repeaters, the more of the world you can infiltrate. For now, let's just infiltrate a little bit.
Alright, should actually get some stuff going in there. Oh, sweet glory. Should have thought that through a little bit more. I think we're going to need a couple more generators.
New main objective available.
Head to the world stage.
You head to the world stage.
Optional objective complete.
Alright, yeah. Alright. No, we still have some. Never mind, we don't know if we would need that. But
Each of the highlighted regions is an excellent place to start your journey towards world domination.
you mean colonization?
Select a suggested region, or any other region if you know what you are doing, and scout it to establish a criminal network.
I'll go for Mexico.
You can speed things up by selecting fast forward at any time. Once built, you can use our criminal network to run schemes in this region.
Salaries paid.
I'm all packed, boss. Send me into the world, and I'll come back with plenty of gold.
Come back? You think you are coming back? No, I'm not having you coming back here, tracking justice all over the place like mud. They'll follow you right to my door, and then where would we be? Take a little gold for yourself, then send the rest back here. Use your share to live a quiet life. Or else.
Minions will travel to the world and run any scheme you select. You will receive small amounts of gold as they progress.
New main objective available.
A prison will make for the perfect place to hold your enemies before questioning them.
Alright. We're going to have this, do it far away from the entrance as well. I think a door is what for?
A scheme has succeeded.
These holding cells hold one prisoner each. If you don't have any free cells, your minions can't capture people.
Let's see how big these cells are.
Once this interrogation chair is built,
No.
we can use it to make prisoners tell us their secrets.
The methods they use to... It's kind of comical. It's meant to be kind of a cartoonish villain type thing.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Well, do what you can now. Go to the world stage. See if there we go. So we're gonna also need a interrogation mechanism, i.e. evil torture device. There we go.
New main objective available.
Experiment with interrogating agents. You never know what secrets you will uncover.
So I don't know if I can do that yet. I think for the I don't know if they just allow you, only allow you to do that later. I prefer to have the speed on low. You can always miss stuff if you don't. Let me go on the options here again. So there's having. So what's it? Keyboard and mouse. Here we go. Edit. All right. Rotate camera up 2. Rotate camera down 1. E. See, that's what I thought. It was rotate camera right. All right. Resume. Now it works. I'm pretty sure I tried that though. All right. There we go. I like that. Better. Right. No money yet. All right. 11% of the way. See, I think I could do a few more schemes. Still some more broadcast strength. Oh, no. Not that hairy. That's just the one. Alright. Because I think I want to build the bulb somewhere else. So we have corridor. Let's do the corridor through here. Do that. So just digging doesn't actually require money.
A new criminal network has been established.
That's all.
Salaries paid.
Alright. I want a bigger vault though. So we do the vault in here maybe. Be expanded back into here once we get the proper equipment. I can close it up and then use it for a power station.
Salaries paid.
Who cares about economics, huh? It's kind of pleasantly simple, I think, with only like one resource or whatever. You don't have to keep track of a lot of stuff. It's maybe less complicated than some of the simulator games. Do I have any agents to interrogate? I haven't constructed a chair yet, so it's that, unfortunately. All right. I can just fast forward. Okay, so there's actually quite a few minions.
New optional objective available.
Yeah. Alright. That's nice. From that.
New main objective available.
Where we're going, we don't need roads. Head to the world stage to recruit a scientist. Select a scientist scheme. Special schemes are often highlighted on the world stage with colored signs. Keep your eyes open for these important schemes.
A member of the explosive archaeology, blah blah blah, controversial little outfit have demonstrated intelligence as well as lack of morals. Ethic.
Once complete, the scheme will yield you a fresh-faced scientist.
Controversial little outfit have demonstrated intelligence as well as lack of morals, ethics, and eyebrows. Sort of everything you're looking for. It is everything you're looking for.
I'm ready to uncover the mysteries of the universe for you, boss. What do you want me to research?
Interesting word, research. Implies you are searching for something a second time. You better not be charging me for the same work twice.
Your new scientist appears to believe that we can use a training room to teach our slack-jawed minions how to do specialist jobs. Get one built, and you can find out for sure.
Gracious, why the hairy do I... Somehow I got a space eater BS. That is not what you want in this scenario. Alright, oh. Alright, now.
New optional objective available.
That's a space eater? That's also a space eater. Alright. Sell. Okay. Enough of that BS. Now we need an air conditioner, not a space eater, jackass.
Salaries
Alright,
paid.
let's see. Get another air conditioner moved in. Well, can't have people hot while they're interrogating people. Out for the love. You have to... Actually, let's do power. No. Control room. I wonder if you have to get the air conditioner from that, like, room's own thing.
New optional objective available.
Sorry, kitchen. Barracks. So I wonder if there would actually be like one of these layers where you would have problems with cold rather than heat. This one's supposed to be tropical, right? Alright, training room tiles, alright. Training room.
Each specialist minion type requires a trainer of its own. Request a scientist trainer.
Alright. Now.
Once built, you will be able to instruct your minions to train as scientists. Having more scientists will speed up future research.
Okay. Alright. What? Alright. A bit more room doesn't hurt. Alright.
New optional objective available.
I think. That's still very alright. Good. Now, what I want to do is build another vault. It's not so teeny tiny. To be expanded when the time comes. Alright, so now. Crates. I can shut down that other vault and use it for something else. The shelving, actually, once you unlock that, is a lot more convenient.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Seems to be enough. That was 41,000, so there should be. Alright. Construct scientist training. We're good. We were sailing on moonlight days.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Oh, we saw. Oh, maybe that's because that was going to still take some.
Salaries paid.
Okay, so it did complete that. Okay, so where are the agents? I'm still supposed to. I thought I was still supposed to interrogate someone.
Optional objective complete.
With the correct training furniture built in your training room, you can request that your minions train to become specialists.
There we go.
Head to the minion training screen to request training of some new scientists. You should request 2 scientists to be trained. Thankfully, we already have a scientist, so training another should be a breeze. If for some reason one of your scientists disappears, another minion will instantly train until they have this many in your lair again. Useful. Your workers will start to train automatically. They'll learn faster if another minion is able to teach them. Your minions will need somewhere to perform their research. Plan a laboratory.
Alright, so leave that for barracks and some more stuff. If possible, I want to the problem is you can't just overlay. Alright, let's do this the other way here. There we go. Okay, laboratory. Put that.
A whiteboard is essential for scientists to perform research. As we unlock more potent research, we'll need to provide them with more advanced equipment.
Alright. I think the more you get of them, in theory, the more you earn. Fortunately, you need intel for that. Moment, probably reducing it is the only good thing you can do. I should. Do I have any? No, I have enough to start another thing. Let's go with Northern Africa. Alright, let's go with Vault. 66,000 songs were pretty good so far. I damn it. Yeah.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Sick. Alright, what else? We have what? Power. 11 left.
A new criminal network has been established.
No. Yeah, pretty cool music themes for this thing. I did build. Tell you what, I'll construct 3 just to.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Physics doesn't apply to. Doesn't apply to rich people. I should probably expand the barracks a little bit here. There we go. Yeah, actually, maybe I should deal with that.
Optional objective complete.
Alright. First, let's see if we can expand this.
New main objective available.
Open the research screen and take a look at all the diabolical opportunities.
Alright, now.
Salaries paid.
Oh, okay. Better? No.
Choose any research project and set your scientists researching it.
Intel. Nice.
We suggest increasing your minion capacity, but ultimately the choice is yours, oh wise one. Research takes time, and our scientists will let us know when it's complete. Head back to the lair to continue your world domination.
New main objective available.
You are blessed with powerful abilities which can be used to further influence those around you. Select your genius. This ability increases the importance and speeds of jobs within your area of influence. Move to a busy area of your lair, such as your control room, and trigger the ability. Notice how your minions come running to help? This can be very useful when you want to give the productivity in your lair a bit of a boost. If your genius isn't in a busy room, try moving to somewhere there are jobs to be done, and try again.
Alright, now. Meow. Oh, lost. Alright. So we need to probably adjust.
Build more rockers if you want more minions.
Alright. Now, power.
Salaries paid. Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Shush. Silence, woman. Alright. So that. $82,000. Not too shabby. And at some point we get the casino opened and we can start doing some of that stuff. Bounce some of that stuff off. There you go.
New side story available.
Side stories are objectives that will unlock powerful additions to your empire. You should start by learning about how guards work. Once you have done that, you can learn about new minion types.
What we need is a little more muscle around here. You there, how much can you lift?
About 70 kilos on a good day. 80 if I use both hands.
Uh-huh. And how many bullet wounds can you take before you give up?
1, maybe 2.
My point exactly. Get out there and find someone strong.
Many objectives require you to send different types of minions to run special schemes. Let's go to the world stage to get started. One of the highlighted schemes is near one of your criminal networks. You can send minions to complete the scheme now, or you can search the globe for an alternative.
Prison guards. Prison guards just clocked off for the night and is on his way home. Okay, so you're recruiting prison guards. Guess that works. Here, I could expand the cafeteria too. Vitality, morale.
A scheme has succeeded.
Your minions have kidnapped a specialist. Once they're in a holding cell, you can choose to interrogate them.
Huzzah! Someone to interrogate. Oh, cool. I'm probably done here pretty soon. Admittedly, I might have made the interrogation room too big. And put the cells together. You put prisoners together and talk with each other. There we go. Here he comes and there he goes. Okay. faster. Oh goodness.
Your scientists have discovered
I was
something.
wondering about that. Alright. Capacitors. That should keep a little bit of power.
Research has begun.
Select the holding cell and then select escort prisoner. After that, select the interrogation device. For now, that's the interrogation chair.
You can later on get like a brainwashing device. Great option. Like I said, I don't know if it's great particularly, but you know, you can get different recruits out. Well, I think you get more recruits out.
An intruder has given us their secrets.
Guards are important to the security of your lair, but can disappear quicker than a dry martini. Build 2 guard trainers so that your minions can top up their wilting numbers post-haste.
Alright, minions. Different minions cost different amounts to keep, too. Oh, hold on. I need to train it first. Alright, sorry. Alright. Oh, I did. Alright. Do I need more than one? Oh, I do need one. Alright.
Once constructed, we can use the minion training screen to request our minions start their training to become fully fledged guards. Won't that be nice?
Is there anything I have room for one more criminal network? Let's go with China. Did I not set on? Contact. Interrogation.
New main objective available.
It would be hot when they're...
Head to the minion training screen to request some advanced minions. We have 2 guard trainers, so set your lair to always try and maintain 4 guards. When they are defeated in combat, your minions will quickly train and create new guards to take their place at your side. Wow, look at them go. I could do that, but I don't want to. Guards are just one of the muscle-type minions you will be able to find as you expand your empire.
I should start putting some doors and some stuff at our station. Once you get into later,
has been established.
Once you get into later things, you start having people invading your space a little bit. So. Sort of have saboteurs running around, so it's probably better. It doesn't actually stop them, but it does slow them down. So, especially with the interrogation room, probably intel room would be a good idea as well. All right, control room. I take it computers. Huzzah! Okay. Figure out what is back there. Okay. So why is there 2? Maybe it needs 2? I don't know. Stick that there.
New main objective available.
Now that you have enough guards to support them, request some guard posts towards the entrance to your lair.
I wonder if
You're
bathrooms
in high
are
alert.
some sort of
Your
function.
guards will diligently man these aptly named guard posts.
Alright.
New main objective available.
We have picked up some movement near your lair. Keep an eye out for incoming agents.
Not from the casino, is it? Ew. What's that guessing? Oh, those are minions.
A scheme has succeeded. Your scientists have made a breakthrough.
Alright, ooh, nice. Mining technique. That's what ow! Have an impact analyzer. Alright. Now, I want that mining technique. That's. Yeah.
Guards like to use their muscles to defeat agents. Tag this agent for swift termination.
Alright. Where? Where's the agent? Oh, here we go.
An intruder in my
capture
lair?
the other one.
Find them and eliminate them.
Turn on high alert and watch as your minions scurry to deal with any tagged agents they find in your lair.
So now I'm wait until it actually gets. If they actually get in here. Alright, world stage. Now.
New optional objective available.
Calm things down up there first. It's nice once you can upgrade your thingies.
Sound the alarms.
Get her! Whoever it is. Rob Chin, so I guess a dude. FOJ. build an infirmary here. I guess they make that one purposefully weak.
Nicely done. Turn off high alert once you have finished dancing. Fisticuffs are an occupational hazard for your guards and lowers their vitality. A short stay in the infirmary can patch them right up.
Alright, room type. Need.
An intensive care pod like this can officially deal with 1,000 boo-boos per hour. Actual results may vary. If a minion's vitality gets too low, they will go to the closest infirmary to attempt to heal. If their vitality reaches 0, then it might be time to hire a new minion.
I.e. they die.
Salaries paid.
What are these things anyways? Fierce cats. Love sweet treat, 2 or 3. Alright. Alright. Oh, that was fun. We get back to it. Think. Alright. That's good.